shatters right there in the corner, and then the two big ones across the screen. I was getting out of the car, and I had the dog in my lap and my phone in my lap. The dog got down, the phone dropped. Right on the fucking pavement.
It sucks.
And the second I heard it, I knew. I was like, nope, that was too loud.
No, that was too loud.
The right kind of sound.
Alright, so
That
one
whole
of the...
setup was... Oh, man.
So I have a question.
Okay.
Is it possible to do something bad while actively doing something good?
Yes.
Yes?
Yeah, sounds like it.
Okay, so here's the problem. You know, I was involved in the public service announcement about redefining patriotism that starred John Cena.
Right.
So that was filmed right in downtown in Ybor, old stomping grounds. And great project, great message. I'm sure that, most of you have seen the video by now. But I thought it interesting. Somebody on my friends list on Facebook shared the video. And then above it said, I watched them make this commercial in Ybor. I'm going to fix her grammar because I physically cannot bring myself as a writer to actually say the things that she actually has written. So
I would for sure read it exactly how she has it written.
Yeah, do it.
Okay,
That would be
so,
so
all right.
much better with it.
All right, so it's, I watched them make this commercial, Ybor, and I think it's so funny how the whole entire time he was there and all the people that were helping make this happen were all going in and out of the church right there by 7-Eleven. The base for the project was in that church.
How
that's
is
in
there
Ybor.
no punctuation yet? There's
never been a
there's
period
nothing.
or a comma or anything thus far. Church right there by 7-Eleven, and not one time did they offer, comma, the two elderly homeless men anything that were sitting there who actually sleep beside the church. They had a nice food truck in front of the church, and everybody was in and out. I waited about 2 hours to see nothing happen, and like every morning, I gave them donuts and coffee so this little video can shove it. Fake ass looking to be in the spotlight for the moment because a crisis happened. So there's so many things that are wrong with her statement there, not just grammatically, but
Right.
the fact of the matter is that it was paid for by the American Ad Council, and they do public service announcement all the time. They did the equality one last year with the skeletons, remember, behind the X-ray screen, and they do shit for hunger and feeding the children and fucking all kinds. It's an ad council,
Right?
I mean, all kinds of stuff. They're a non-profit organization.
Mm-hmm.
So I responded, firstly, this is a non-profit organization that paid for the ad. I was involved in this project, and it has nothing to do with the recent events, as they do ads like this all the time. If you visit the Ad Council's websites, you can find videos similar to this one. Secondly, the caterers were told not to give anything to anyone that is not a part of the project, as it is expensive. And again, this is a non-profit organization. That's a really great thing that you do to give the homeless people coffee and donuts, but it's not the responsibility of any organization or person to feed homeless people. We were there to spread a message to the world and to spread some love. Also, there was a homeless person involved in the project, and they were paid generously. There were many people there that are heavily involved in the church we were using as a base, and are they at fault because they don't feed them every day, even though they sleep on the bench outside the church?
That's a good point.
And then I said, also, what 2 hours were you watching? Because the shoot was 14 hours long. And who's to say that the extra food was not given to the homeless people? I can't say that it was or wasn't, personally, as I'm not sure. But there were 2 meals served. And then she says, I work at Hamburger Mary's. I was there for 8 hours, and I know all the local homeless people. They kept pushing them out of the way to make sure they weren't on the street so they could make this commercial. Okay, first of all, they were pushing everybody out of the way. They closed down the street.
Right, that's
If
what
you
it looks
didn't
like.
sign a contract, you don't fucking get to be on camera. That's how it works. There's no... It doesn't exist anymore willy-nilly. Oh, you happen to be in the shot. Oh,
Right.
That's not how it works.
There's a release form for everything.
There's a release form for everything. So all the people that you see in those commercials and you see walking down the road when they're filming a movie
They're called
or filming
extras.
a television show, they're extras. They're placed there. There's contract signs. They are getting paid, or sometimes not paid, depending on the project. But most of the time, they're getting paid to just stand there and look like they have nothing to do with anything. That's their whole job, is to just fill the fucking space. I guess you can say I have my favorite This is her speaking still, sorry.
Goodness.
I guess I can say I have my favorite homeless people. I see them in the morning, and then whatever leftover food I get from work, I'll bring them in the afternoon. So when I got off at 6, nothing. I even asked them, did anyone bother to even offer you water? Sometimes they don't just ask for money. At the end of the day, they all lived beside the church, and they don't offer to help them. That was all one sentence. Plus, I had other co-workers who were in and out as well, who witnessed the same thing and were just disgusted by the whole thing. And then the bitch must have deleted my... Oh, nope, she didn't. Okay. Disgusted over the whole thing. And then I said, they pushed everyone out of the street whether they were homeless or not. They can't have people who are not a part of the shoot on camera. It's a legal liability. And again, it's not anyone's responsibility to feed the homeless people. And they should not be shamed for what they are doing just because they didn't take care of the homeless people in the area. That's ridiculous. This organization does a lot of good, and trying to take their good away and call it fake is absurd. There was nothing fake about the video or its message. What about the homeless people that live around the hospital in downtown St. Pete? All the lives they save, all of the operations and medical attention that is given at that hospital to save lives is fake too, because they don't feed the homeless people that live outside of it?
It's a pretty good point. Does she have anything to say in rebuttal to that?
No.
Nope, that's done.
But I mean, to call it fake...
Yeah.
Because they didn't feed the homeless people that were sleeping outside of the base that they had set up for the shoot.
Yeah.
And that fuck this fake-ass video. Like, do you just have to find something to fucking complain about?
That's exactly what it is. That's the social trend currently. It's to find something to be offended about and then bitch about it because it brings attention to you.
Well, it's a shitty social trend.
It's a big problem. You hear a lot of people talking about it. It's an issue with everybody having the opportunity to say something that can be seen by everybody. Used to be, it's been said before by a bunch of people, you used to have to be someone important for anyone to hear anything you had to say, right? So half the time it was people who really invested their time into making sense out of the shit that they were going to say. Unfortunately, now anyone can jump on Facebook or Twitter or anything like that and just say whatever the hell they want.
Right.
And it carries the same validity because it's just open. It's out there. Even if it's completely unfounded and makes absolutely no sense.
Yeah. I just thought it was a really interesting perspective to come from. That it's fake and it doesn't matter and they're not doing any good because they didn't feed the homeless people that were outside.
I mean, but of all the good things that they are accomplishing, like that commercial is doing a lot of good. And then a lot of the money that this organization does raise goes to doing a lot of good.
Right.
I mean, if they just weren't able to feed a couple of homeless people in an area, or rather in an area where they were shooting a commercial, I don't see that as something that would make them a horrible company or something that's fake.
And there's also a lot of assuming here. Like, from the very beginning, oh, well, I was there for 8 hours, and I know everybody. She's
yeah, but you were working, like, not even close. Right. You were working, like, 2 blocks down and across the street.
Right.
People
like,
will
what if it's
assume
for 8 hours?
One of those people that were working on that set didn't walk into a pizza shop around town, buy them a couple slices.
Like, she will assume so far to the point where she doesn't actually know. There's no way she can know whether or not these people were fed or not. But she will assume so hard in one direction and refuse for even a second to assume in the other that they actually fed them, which is also just as possible
which they could
as
have.
not feeding.
Yeah, but she said she left work at 6. I was on set until 8 o'clock. Okay, I was on set until 8 o'clock.
Right.
And what 2 hours was she standing there just watching everything? If she just
jobs
went there,
her that opportunity.
Right. Right.
The problem is that she was willing to completely and blatantly lie about it. I mean, wasn't she saying that she's like on conversational level with these homeless people?
Yeah.
Where she's
and she gives them coffee and donuts every day.
Right.
That nice bitch.
So she sat down and spoke to every single one of the homeless people that lives around that church.
And none of them were fed by this
to gauge whether or not they were fed by any member of this crew or the ad council.
Yes.
Right.
It's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous. it's absolutely ridiculous. Like, I refuse to believe that.
Yeah, right. I know. But the problem is that, like, what about... And then all these fucking people that like the status, and all of her dumbass friends that didn't even stop to fucking think about the points that I
Make
just
America
made.
Great Again.
Oh my god.
Oh, shit. Yeah, Make America Great Again.
This is another issue that I've talked about before, is the fact that people surround themselves with like-minded people, so they don't understand the different perspectives around them, right? Like,
that's sad.
Yeah, it's pretty horrible. Like, we were just talking about it not too long ago. The fact that it was really easy to forget that this world is mostly overrun by just complete morons, right? Total bricks. Because
Idiocracy.
People of any kind of level of intelligence typically surround themselves with people of like-minded intelligence, right? As well as like-minded viewpoints socially, just on the world, or rather about the world in general. It's just easy to forget that there's all these other things, these other variables out there.
Right. Yeah, I thought it was interesting that she took that route and was so offended by it.
And then she's surrounded by other people who feel like she's completely right about what she's saying.
The new hobby, though, is to be offended.
Right.
I'm offended.
I'm offended by your hobby, to be offended.
Right.
I think another interesting question is a lot of people are coming to the point where they're realizing that this is the course of things, that people are just looking for reasons to be offended, just social uprising about goofy shit, honestly. But if we're all so aware about it, how could it still possibly be a problem? If so many people see it as the problem that it is, how is it that it's persisting so well?
Because the people that are doing it continue to do it.
Yeah, but then you hear these people on an individual level, they talk about how social justice warriors are a social plague as opposed to actual defenders of social status or anything like that.
I think it depends on the justice warrior. Like, there are some people out there who are literally just trying to make the world a better place, and then there are some people who are just trying to get their rocks off on making themselves feel better about what they're doing or something like that. I don't know. But
like the male feminists who are only feminists because they're trying to get laid.
Just people trying to feel like
it's 100% it
for the world. Like, that's some people just need that every now and then. But some people are just being hateful too. Like, that does happen. So
lots of people, which is literally exactly the opposite of what that video was about. But
right.
There's a public service announcement was about.
But that shit's fake. Why? Because that bitch said so.
Right. Because she never personally saw anybody feeding a homeless person.
Oh, goodness.
Which was not the point. It wasn't even an ad about homeless or hungry people.
We need to throw on some hairnets, start cooking some soup right now before we end up being fake supporters of humanity.
Well, it was about diversity, too. Like, it's not like they were filming a soup kitchen and then not feeding the homeless people.
Right. I mean, that would be one thing. Right.
There was literally, like, just food for the people who were working.
If they'd fucking...
And not about homeless people. I don't understand how...
Right, if they had decided to film the next fucking Harry Potter movie in fucking Ybor, would it be fake if the crew didn't feed the fucking homeless people?
There's no validity to this Harry Potter movie.
Right. Fuck this Harry Potter movie because I know that I stood there for 2 hours and they didn't feed one motherfucking homeless person. And then I took my happy ass to work.
Of course it's all in your head.
And your boss had no
That doesn't
problem
mean
with you
it didn't
standing around for
happen.
2 hours.
It doesn't make any fucking sense.
I don't know.
No fucking sense at all.
Everyone's got a point, I guess.
Well, there's your winner for the day.
Yeah, she wins. She is the winner.
You ever felt like you were doing good in the world but didn't feed a couple of homeless dudes?
Well, fuck you, buddy.
Right.
Then you are actually a dick, and here's how we can fix that now.
And I can prove it because this bitch says that you didn't feed anybody while you were there on set.
For just 35 cents an hour, that's right, 35 cents an hour, we can feed a homeless dick.
And speaking of the homeless people, okay, I sat down and talked to one of the homeless people. Well, okay, so the first time I went out for a smoke break, I went out and had a cigarette, and then this homeless guy was, like, talking to me or whatever. And then I went back inside, and then the next time I came out, I sat down on the steps out front of the fucking church, and then the homeless guy fucking comes back. But he didn't look like too much of a creepy homeless guy, you know, but he
just looked like a down on his luck homeless guy.
Yeah, you know, so he sits
like,
down
shit,
on the
I lost
steps.
my job at the same time all my bills came in kind of homeless guy.
Yeah. And so he sits down, and, you know, we're talking for a second. He goes, so what are they doing? And I said, well, they're doing it, you know, it's a public service announcement about, you know, diversity. And he goes, oh, okay, cool, yeah. And I'm like, yeah, you know, so I sit there for another, like, awkward minute, you know, smoking a cigarette. And I'm trying to fucking remember how we got to the point. Anyway, he informed me that he was bisexual.
Oh.
And that he's been sucking some monster dicks lately.
Big
fucking dicks.
And that's how he gets somewhere to stay when
and I was like,
well, thanks.
Alright.
Awesome. Herpes, got it.
Right. Something else. So then I, you know, finished my cigarette and I was like, okay, have a nice day.
Bye.
Take care now.
Right.
Bye then.
So, but it was weird. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. The homeless people are interesting, but
I mean, there's also laws that might keep them from feeding the homeless people. Because, you know, we are in Florida and Rick Scott's an asshole.
We had a former homeless man security guard sitting in our living room at 2 o'clock in the morning one day when we first moved into an apartment complex in Tampa.
Yeah.
He had been homeless for 5 years in Denver and had just moved to Florida into Tampa and got a job as a security guard, and he became our buddy. His name was Mike. Okay. He kind of looked like the missing link between Ginger and Bigfoot.
Jesus.
Yeah, and he had these, like, Coke bottle glasses. Like, he strongly resembled, that creeper kid from Hey Arnold, the one that was always over Helga's shoulder.
Oh, okay.
Right? Like a mouth breather, for sure. Hunchbacked and everything.
Jesus.
Like, even though his shirt was tucked in, like, his belt came up to his nipples. He was, like, 28 years old, but he looked like he was going on 45,000.
I'm pretty sure he lived out of his car.
Yeah,
even
it was
then.
rough. But he was sitting in our living room hanging out with us one morning at like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning.
Interesting.
Yeah. And that's how you do good for homeless folks. You invite them into your house at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Don't do that, actually.
No, don't do that.
No, absolutely do that.
No,
especially if
do that.
they have sharp objects. Those are good people.
No.
They're just trying to make shish kebab out of food. Not you.
Not
you.
Or you could just give them your leftovers like I did in Vegas.
Yeah.
Because I've never seen that many homeless people in one place.
Do they
before.
flock like seagulls?
No, they just line up.
Like
line
you take
up.
out some food and they're just like, huh?
There's literally a line of homeless people around the strip.
Just waiting.
And I
for
found
food.
this one that had like lost his leg.
I have another son.
I gave him, and that was it. And he looked at me like I was crazy the whole time. I'm like, fuck off, whatever. I'm gonna just. And then we left.
Well, whenever I'm coming off of like the highway or something, coming into Tampa. Yeah, I got my gun rack. Every time I pull off the highway in Tampa, there's this homeless guy who's just chilling right off the exit ramp. And I usually, if I have a bunch of change or something like that, I'll give him change, or I'll give him like 3 or 4 cigarettes or something like that if I don't have any change for him. He's always happy about it.
Yeah, there was when I worked at Regis, I would come off the highway there onto like Boy Scout right there by International. And waiting at that light, there was always the same homeless person, older guy, like probably like early 70s looking homeless guy.
And this guy was like hard on his luck, like probably 35.
Yeah, I don't know. But the light took fucking forever. That left turn signal
like
into the mall is just ridiculous. So, one day I give him $1 or whatever, and then, anyway, over the course of the time that I worked there, I mean, we got to the point where we were, like, talking every day, or I was giving him a cigarette, or $1 or whatever else. And then one day, he comes to me, and he was so excited, and he says, I have a job interview at the grocery store tomorrow. And I was like, that's awesome. I was like, that's dope. You don't have to let me know how it goes or whatever. So then I, drive into work, the light turns green, and I go, and whatever else. And, I don't know, like 2 days later or something, I see him again, and he goes, well, he's like, I'm trying to, get some money for some shoes. He's like, because they gave me the job, but I have to get the shoes, because I was at a fast food restaurant or a grocery store or something, so he had to have like the non-slip shoes.
Like $12 at Walmart.
Right, nothing crazy. So, and I didn't have any cash or anything, but I asked him, I said, what's your shoe size? And he told me, and so I went in the mall, and I worked my first, half of my shift or whatever, and then I went and bought him a pair of non-slip shoes at one of the stores inside the mall.
Nice.
And then I went, and the next morning, as I was coming around, there he was, and I gave him the shoes. He fucking cried.
Well,
he literally fucking cried.
It's literally something that's helping him rebuild his life. Right?
And then I never saw him again. Never, ever did I see him again for the entire rest of the time.
At this point,
some people literally just need that little extra. It's ridiculous.
So that was cool. So I can only, like I said, I never saw him again. So I can only assume that he, did it and whatever else, and so
I try and rack up my good deeds, not for any kind of particular reason other than it just feels good. Like I try and do good things, like stupid little things, like even just holding open the door for people, or stupid things like that.
It's good to be a nice fucking person, not be a fucking dick all the time.
Well, I try and rack up the good karma because I'm an asshole a lot of times too. Yeah. So I figure it balances
itself out.
Yeah.
I think that might be true.
Hey.
For both of you.